Hello everyone, welcome back to MLS Moves. Please make sure you like this video down below and subscribe to the channel if you are new. Once we hit 5,000 subscribers, we'll be celebrating with a special jersey giveaway. 2 lucky subscribers will have the chance to win a jersey of their choosing. Whether you're a diehard fan or you're just joining the fun, this giveaway is our way of saying thank you for your support. So spread the word, hit that subscribe button, and let's reach our goal by the end of July. Now, back to the video. So the U.S. Soccer Federation has officially gotten their coaching search underway, and there are several names that, well, to be honest with you, there's not several names at all because it seems like that this process is a complete sham, like the first time was when they hired Greg Berhalter in 2018, and the second time when they rehired Greg Berhalter in 2023. But before we get into this, we're going to name 3 managers that I would like to see us hire, 3 managers that we need to stay away from. But first, before we get into the video, I want to play for you guys what Jesse Marsch recently said when he was asked, would he be on the sidelines for Canada or the United States next time these 2 teams play?
The United States and Kansas City in the fall. Which sideline will you be on?
Come on, man. I'm not leaving this job. I have no interest in the U.S. job. And to be fair, unless there's a big shift in the organization, I don't think that I'll ever have interest in that job in the future. So I'm really happy here. I couldn't be happier, actually, in terms of what it's like to work with the leaders in this organization and what it's like to work with this team.
Yeah, so as you can see by what he just said, there is a lot of chaos in the Soccer Federation. There's a lot of chaos, instability, and most importantly, who's calling the shots? Is it Matt Crocker? Is it JT Batson? Is it Don Garber? Nobody knows who's calling the shots, right? Nobody knows. It's up in the air. Your guess is as good as mine, okay? But with all that said, they're in the process of hiring a new manager. We don't know who's going to make the selection, and it seems like that this process is going to be a sham. It's going to be a sham. Seems like the fix is already in on who it's going to be. We'll talk about that later. But here are 3 managers that I realistically think we should hire. Realistically, meaning that there's already been reported interest, that they have possibly talked to or could talk to soon, or is obtainable, right? No Pep Guardiolas or anything like that. This is just people that are actually available and ready to go. Number 1 is Hervé Renard. Hervé Renard has coached Ivory Coast. He's coached Morocco. He's coached Saudi Arabia. He has a plethora of international managing experience. And on top of that, he has also been heralded for getting his teams out of the groups, or making the World Cup, making the World Cup, qualifying for the World Cup. It's not a shoe-in for national teams like Morocco, for national teams like Saudi Arabia to qualify for the World Cup. And he's done that. Now, he didn't make it out of the group stage with his club or with his teams in Morocco and Saudi Arabia, but they have been impressive. They have shown a grit, a competitiveness. He's a manager that gets the most out of his players. He's a motivator, which is something we desperately need. We need someone who can hold these players accountable and get them going, find out how to get the most out of them, squeeze every ounce of potential out of them. And he checks all those boxes. And it'd be nice to see what he could do with a bigger project, right? He is now coaching the French women's national team, and there are several national teams that are trying to poach him away, get him to come coach their team. Ivory Coast tried to make a play for him back in January, and the French Federation actually rejected it. So he's a hot commodity. He would be a very good manager. I think he checks a lot of boxes. He's 55 years old. He would be a huge upgrade over Greg, even though I've said numerous times that's not really hard to do, right? It's not hard to be a better manager than Greg, but he checks all the boxes. Hervé Renard would be a great hire. I honestly, of all the realistic chances, he's number 1 on my list. He is just, it would be a dream hire, especially for this team. It'd be interesting to see what he would be able to do. Number 2 is Willie Sagnol. Now, Willie Sagnol is a name you guys probably have not heard of, okay? He is currently the Georgia national team manager. He doesn't have as much experience as Hervé Renard, but he has some impressive. He has had some impressive performances with the Georgia national team. His group stage was Portugal, Czech Republic, and Turkey, and they finished third, but they were able to get out of their group. They lost to Spain, which they look like they're going to win the Euros of 2024. But one thing he did that Berhalter was never able to do was he was able to beat a premium team. And keep this in mind, Georgia does not have the same talent that the United States has. So winning with them is very impressive. They were able to beat Portugal 2-0, who's probably a comparable team to like Uruguay, maybe even slightly better. And to beat them 2-0. Now, some people will say that Portugal already had the group wrapped up. That's fine. But still, in the 6 years that Greg Berhalter was manager, he never had a win like that against any circumstances and against any team. His signature win was against Mexico. That's all it was. And also, Willie Sagnol is very important, or was important, to the foundational work set by the French Football Federation. As the technical director, he was a technical director for France from 2011 to 2013, building the foundation to have these youth systems set up so that they could make a run and within a decade and trying to compete for World Cup again, like they did in 1998. They did that in 2018. He is credited a lot for turning the federation around, getting them back, up and running, and helping them turn things around. So even though he doesn't have the managerial record like some other people do, he has proven he can win at the international level with Georgia, especially considering what kind of talent limitations they have. And also, he has an impressive resume as a technical director. Willie Sagnol is a name to keep an eye on. And at number 3 on my list of top 3 managers I'd like to the U.S. men's national team, or would approve of them hiring, is Wilfried Nancy. Now, listen, some of you are going to say, Wilfried Nancy, I don't want him. I don't want him. I don't want an MLS coach. Okay? And I understand why some of you would say that. But Wilfried Nancy is undeniably a good manager, okay? He is one of these managers that have done more with less, which is something we need with the national team, right? That's something we need. He coached Montreal, who's one of the least spending or lowest spending teams in MLS. He got a second place finish in the East with them. He had a 50% win percentage overall with Montreal, and I want to say it was around a plus 17 goal difference with Montreal. And then everybody said, well, I want to see what he can do, or what would he be able to do if he had a little bit more talent? Would he be able to translate into wins? Yes, he was. He goes to Columbus in his first year. They win the MLS Cup, beating LAFC. First year, beats LAFC in the MLS Cup with a team that actually has talent. His goal difference is like plus close to 60. I think it's plus 57 at Columbus, and he's only been the manager there for a year and a half, which is crazy numbers. And if we don't hire someone like Wilfried Nancy, it's a matter of time of someone else hiring him. He's going to take a step. He's going to go to Europe very soon. This is the only MLS manager I would even consider, and he's not number 1 on my list. The other 2 guys are. I like these other 2 guys better, these realistic hires. But this is somebody that if we're going to go this route, he is the guy. He's the one that you want to hire. He's the one we need to end up going with. Okay. All right. So let's get to the fun part. Let's get to the controversial part. So these are the managers that I wouldn't go anywhere near in MLS. Okay. So number 1, and this guy looks like he's going to be the favorite for the national team job, Steve Cherundolo. Okay. Now, listen, I'm not saying Steve Cherundolo can't eventually be a national team quality coach or be a good national team coach. The problem is that Steve doesn't have enough experience. He's only been a Division I manager for 2.5 years. Okay. He's had a lot of success during that stint, but he's only been at the helm of LAFC for 2.5 years. And his teams have been stacked. Arguably, these have been the best teams in Major League Soccer in his tenure with LAFC. I just think it's way too risky to hire Steve into the most important World Cup cycle in our history. I would feel much more comfortable hiring Steve after 2026 if we're going to go that route. I think we need someone more stable, more safe, someone who's going to just make sure that we're maximizing our opportunity. Steve is a wild card. I'm not saying he can't ever be the national team manager. I'm just saying at this point in time, it would not be the right hire. It would not be the right hire. I just think that's way too risky. I think Steve needs to stay at the club level a couple more seasons, maybe make the move to Europe, prove himself a little more. Then we can talk about giving a chance at the national team level. I just don't think that's the right move right now. Number 2 is Greg Vanney. Greg Vanney is the LA Galaxy manager. Now, I know you're saying, "What, Will? Why are you bringing his name up?" He's a serious contender. He's a serious candidate. This is someone that they've talked to. Okay, Greg Vanney. Now, Greg Vanney has been the Toronto FC manager. He was the Toronto FC manager from 2014 to 2020, led them to their first MLS Cup. A lot of that had to do with really good team, Michael Bradley, Sebastian Jovinko, Josie Altidore. There was a really good team. It wasn't like he was coaching a scrub team, right? He moves off, goes to LA Galaxy. It's been very up and down for him in his tenure with the Galaxy. A lot of LA Galaxy fans actually wouldn't mind moving off of Greg Vanney. I don't think he's a terrible coach. I think he's pretty good, especially for MLS terms. But no, if I'm not hiring Steve, I'm not hiring Greg Vanney. Okay, I'm not hiring Greg Vanney. I'm not even talking to him. Okay, but they are so hell bent on hiring an American coach. He's on the list. And I think that when you see the inconsistencies with Greg, it's another situation with Steve. You just can't take the risk. It's a very high risk, low reward when you hire Steve. So he is another one I would not hire. Number 3. Okay? Number 3. Number 3 is every single other MLS coach. All of them. None of them. Don't hire an MLS coach except for Wilfried Nancy. Okay? Now, people are going to say I'm hating on MLS. Okay, first of all, read the name. What's the name say? What is my name? Okay? I'm being honest. I watch this league. One of the biggest downfalls of Major League Soccer right now is its managing. It's just not good enough right now. It's very lacking. There's a lot of people that are in over their head, have no business managing in this league right now, or managing in general. And the talent pool is very, very, very small. So I don't want any MLS manager taking over the biggest, let me preface this again, biggest project and moment in U.S. soccer history. I don't trust any of them. None. This is something we cannot screw up. We have to make sure we're covering all of our bases, hiring someone who is going to get the most out of these players and minimize risk, give us the best chance of impressing at this huge tournament. Okay? No MLS coach can do that right now. Okay? There are some good men. Like I've said, Steve Cherundolo is not a bad coach. Greg Vanney's a decent coach. Pat Noonan's a good coach. They're just not ready right now. They're not ready. They are not ready. Do not let anybody fool you. They are not ready. We have got to make a hire that is stable and that is going to just prevent us from embarrassing ourselves. We got embarrassed in Copa America. We can't let something like that happen again. That is why we have to hire a coach who gives us the best chance to win. That's none of these guys, except Wilfried Nancy, okay? He's the only one. He's the only one. He's the only one that went to Mexico, beat Tigres on the road, beat Monterrey on the road, has proven he can win on the road. He's the only one. And he's probably like number 3 on my list, honestly, because I want something different. I want a manager who is the complete opposite of everything we've done. Complete opposite. Change everything. Change everything. But here's the sad part. The sad part is the U.S. Soccer Federation is hell-bent on hiring an American coach because they want a perfect fairy tale story to say that on the biggest stage in soccer that they had an American coach on American soil for the U.S. men's national team. That's what they want. And they want to prove that the American coach has arrived. And that's just such a flawed way of thinking. It's very flawed. You should get the best manager possible, regardless of where they're from, what languages they speak, what they look like, any of that stuff. Just get the best person for the job. That's not what they're interested in doing. Steve Cherundolo is the favorite right now. I would be honestly surprised if he's not the next manager of the U.S. men's national team, and I just don't think that that's the right move. So, guys, let me know in the comment section, how do you feel about hiring Steve? Are you nervous like me? Is he really that much of an upgrade over Greg Berhalter? He is an upgrade. Anybody saying he's not, they're delusional. They're lying to themselves. He is an upgrade over Greg. But how much? How much an upgrade is he over Greg? How far can Steve Cherundolo get this U.S. men's national team? Let me know in the comment section down below. Who do you guys want to hire realistically? Who do you not want to hire? If you get one each, one person you want to hire, one person you don't want to hire, give me each one. You get one each. Okay? Like this video down below. Subscribe to the channel. Hit that little bell notification if you haven't already. Until next time, guys, let's hope it's not Steve Cherundolo. And I will see you all soon.